Well, that was not a bad shot, but this is not how it all started. I've always been dreaming of becoming a filmmaker. I believe that a good movie can make our world a better place. But I need to learn more. Life is like a video game. It's fun and it's challenging at the same time. Every accomplished mission leads to another one. Look at these harmonious moves. A perfect combination of mind and body, absolute freedom of self-expression. Art imitates life, and nature is the ultimate masterpiece. To design like a master, you must learn the basics and then go beyond. But how? So our journey began to this magical place, Cyprus. We found our voices. We heard each other's songs. We captured our moment, and we painted our lives. Not to mention the fun. We illuminated our future. We learned from the past. The craft and the knowledge came together to create art. There's a lot to discover and a lot to be done. We were taken by hand, one by one. The journey goes on, and the future is bright. The seeds we planted will give years of beautiful blossoms. So our dreams came to life, and life became like a dream. The magic is real, only if you believe. The journey we began finally came to an end. But it's time for a new start. Now, let's take another shot. Well, that was not a bad shot, but this is not how it all started. I've always been dreaming of becoming a filmmaker. I believe that a good movie can make our world a better place. But I need to learn more. Life is like a video game. It's fun and it's challenging at the same time. Every accomplished mission leads to another one. Look at these harmonious moves. A perfect combination of mind and body, absolute freedom of self-expression. Art imitates life, and nature is the ultimate masterpiece. To design like a master, you must learn the basics and then go beyond. But how? So our journey began to this magical place, Cyprus. We found our voices. We heard each other's songs. We captured our moment, and we painted our lives. Not to mention the fun. We illuminated our future. We learned from the past. The craft and the knowledge came together to create art. There's a lot to discover and a lot to be done. We were taken by hand, one by one. The journey goes on, and the future is bright. The seeds we planted will give years of beautiful blossoms. So our dreams came to life, and life became like a dream. The magic is real, only if you believe. The journey we began finally came to an end. But it's time for a new start. Now, let's take another shot. Well, that was not a bad shot, but this is not how it all started. I've always been dreaming of becoming a filmmaker. I believe that a good movie can make our world a better place. But I need to learn more. Life is like a video game. It's fun and it's challenging at the same time. Every accomplished mission leads to another one. Look at these harmonious moves. A perfect combination of mind and body, absolute freedom of self-expression. Art imitates life, and nature is the ultimate masterpiece. To design like a master, you must learn the basics and then go beyond. But how? So our journey began to this magical place, Cyprus. We found our voices. We heard each other's songs. We captured our moment, and we painted our lives. Not to mention the fun. We illuminated our future. We learned from the past. The craft and the knowledge came together to create art. There's a lot to discover and a lot to be done. We were taken by hand, one by one. The journey goes on, and the future is bright. The seeds we planted will give years of beautiful blossoms. So our dreams came to life, and life became like a dream. The magic is real, only if you believe. The journey we began finally came to an end. But it's time for a new start. Now, let's take another shot. Well, that was not a bad shot, but this is not how it all started. I've always been dreaming of becoming a filmmaker. I believe that a good movie can make our world a better place. But I need to learn more. Life is like a video game. It's fun and it's challenging at the same time. Every accomplished mission leads to another one. Look at these harmonious moves. A perfect combination of mind and body, absolute freedom of self-expression. Art imitates life, and nature is the ultimate masterpiece. To design like a master, you must learn the basics and then go beyond. But how? So our journey began to this magical place, Cyprus. We found our voices. We heard each other's songs. We captured our moment, and we painted our lives. Not to mention the fun. We illuminated our future. We learned from the past. The craft and the knowledge came together to create art. There's a lot to discover and a lot to be done. We were taken by hand, one by one. The journey goes on, and the future is bright. The seeds we planted will give years of beautiful blossoms. So our dreams came to life, and life became like a dream. The magic is real, only if you believe. The journey we began finally came to an end. But it's time for a new start. Now, let's take another shot. Well, that was not a bad shot, but this is not how it all started. I've always been dreaming of becoming a filmmaker. I believe that a good movie can make our world a better place. But I need to learn more. Life is like a video game. It's fun and it's challenging at the same time. Every accomplished mission leads to another one. Look at these harmonious moves. A perfect combination of mind and body, absolute freedom of self-expression. Art imitates life, and nature is the ultimate masterpiece. To design like a master, you must learn the basics and then go beyond. But how? So our journey began to this magical place, Cyprus. We found our voices. We heard each other's songs. We captured our moment, and we painted our lives. Not to mention the fun. We illuminated our future. We learned from the past. The craft and the knowledge came together to create art. There's a lot to discover and a lot to be done. We were taken by hand, one by one. The journey goes on, and the future is bright. The seeds we planted will give years of beautiful blossoms. So our dreams came to life, and life became like a dream. The magic is real, only if you believe. The journey we began finally came to an end. But it's time for a new start. Now, let's take another shot. Well, that was not a bad shot, but this is not how it all started. I've always been dreaming of becoming a filmmaker. I believe that a good movie can make our world a better place. But I need to learn more. Life is like a video game. It's fun and it's challenging at the same time. Every accomplished mission leads to another one. Look at these harmonious moves. A perfect combination of mind and body, absolute freedom of self-expression. Art imitates life, and nature is the ultimate masterpiece. To design like a master, you must learn the basics and then go beyond. But how? So our journey began to this magical place, Cyprus. We found our voices. We heard each other's songs. We captured our moment, and we painted our lives. Not to mention the fun. We illuminated our future. We learned from the past. The craft and the knowledge came together to create art. There's a lot to discover and a lot to be done. We were taken by hand, one by one. The journey goes on, and the future is bright. The seeds we planted will give years of beautiful blossoms. So our dreams came to life, and life became like a dream. The magic is real, only if you believe. The journey we began finally came to an end. But it's time for a new start. Now, let's take another shot. Well, that was not a bad shot, but this is not how it all started. I've always been dreaming of becoming a filmmaker. I believe that a good movie can make our world a better place. But I need to learn more. Life is like a video game. It's fun and it's challenging at the same time. Every accomplished mission leads to another one. Look at these harmonious moves. A perfect combination of mind and body, absolute freedom of self-expression. Art imitates life, and nature is the ultimate masterpiece. To design like a master, you must learn the basics and then go beyond. But how? So our journey began to this magical place, Cyprus. We found our voices. We heard each other's songs. We captured our moment, and we painted our lives. Not to mention the fun. We illuminated our future. We learned from the past. The craft and the knowledge came together to create art. There's a lot to discover and a lot to be done. We were taken by hand, one by one. The journey goes on, and the future is bright. The seeds we planted will give years of beautiful blossoms. So our dreams came to life, and life became like a dream. The magic is real, only if you believe. The journey we began finally came to an end. But it's time for a new start. Now, let's take another shot. Well, that was not a bad shot, but this is not how it all started. I've always been dreaming of becoming a filmmaker. I believe that a good movie can make our world a better place. But I need to learn more. Life is like a video game. It's fun and it's challenging at the same time. Every accomplished mission leads to another one. Look at these harmonious moves. A perfect combination of mind and body, absolute freedom of self-expression. Art imitates life, and nature is the ultimate masterpiece. To design like a master, you must learn the basics and then go beyond. But how? So our journey began to this magical place, Cyprus. We found our voices. We heard each other's songs. We captured our moment, and we painted our lives. Not to mention the fun. We illuminated our future. We learned from the past. The craft and the knowledge came together to create art. There's a lot to discover and a lot to be done. We were taken by hand, one by one. The journey goes on, and the future is bright. The seeds we planted will give years of beautiful blossoms. So our dreams came to life, and life became like a dream. The magic is real, only if you believe. The journey we began finally came to an end. But it's time for a new start. Now, let's take another shot. Well, that was not a bad shot, but this is not how it all started. I've always been dreaming of becoming a filmmaker. I believe that a good movie can make our world a better place. But I need to learn more. Life is like a video game. It's fun and it's challenging at the same time. Every accomplished mission leads to another one. Look at these harmonious moves. A perfect combination of mind and body, absolute freedom of self-expression. Art imitates life, and nature is the ultimate masterpiece. To design like a master, you must learn the basics and then go beyond. But how? So our journey began to this magical place, Cyprus. We found our voices. We heard each other's songs. We captured our moment, and we painted our lives. Not to mention the fun. We illuminated our future. We learned from the past. The craft and the knowledge came together to create art. There's a lot to discover and a lot to be done. We were taken by hand, one by one. The journey goes on, and the future is bright. The seeds we planted will give years of beautiful blossoms. So our dreams came to life, and life became like a dream. The magic is real, only if you believe. The journey we began finally came to an end. But it's time for a new start. Now, let's take another shot. Well, that was not a bad shot, but this is not how it all started. I've always been dreaming of becoming a filmmaker. I believe that a good movie can make our world a better place. But I need to learn more. Life is like a video game. It's fun and it's challenging at the same time. Every accomplished mission leads to another one. Look at these harmonious moves. A perfect combination of mind and body, absolute freedom of self-expression. Art imitates life, and nature is the ultimate masterpiece. To design like a master, you must learn the basics and then go beyond. But how? So our journey began to this magical place, Cyprus. We found our voices. We heard each other's songs. We captured our moment, and we painted our lives. Not to mention the fun. We illuminated our future. We learned from the past. The craft and the knowledge came together to create art. There's a lot to discover and a lot to be done. We were taken by hand, one by one. The journey goes on, and the future is bright. The seeds we planted will give years of beautiful blossoms. So our dreams came to life, and life became like a dream. The magic is real, only if you believe. The journey we began finally came to an end. But it's time for a new start. Now, let's take another shot. Well, that was not a bad shot, but this is not how it all started. I've always been dreaming of becoming a filmmaker. I believe that a good movie can make our world a better place. But I need to learn more. Life is like a video game. It's fun and it's challenging at the same time. Every accomplished mission leads to another one. Look at these harmonious moves. A perfect combination of mind and body, absolute freedom of self-expression. Art imitates life, and nature is the ultimate masterpiece. To design like a master, you must learn the basics and then go beyond. But how? So our journey began to this magical place, Cyprus. We found our voices. We heard each other's songs. We captured our moment, and we painted our lives. Not to mention the fun. We illuminated our future. We learned from the past. The craft and the knowledge came together to create art. There's a lot to discover and a lot to be done. We were taken by hand, one by one. The journey goes on, and the future is bright. The seeds we planted will give years of beautiful blossoms. So our dreams came to life, and life became like a dream. the magic is real, only if you believe. The journey we began finally came to an end. But it's time for a new start. Now, let's take another shot. Well, that was not a bad shot, but this is not how it all started. I've always been dreaming of becoming a filmmaker. I believe that a good movie can make our world a better place. But I need to learn more. Life is like a video game. It's fun and it's challenging at the same time. Every accomplished mission leads to another one. Look at these harmonious moves. A perfect combination of mind and body, absolute freedom of self-expression. Art imitates life, and nature is the ultimate masterpiece. To design like a master, you must learn the basics and then go beyond. But how? So our journey began to this magical place, Cyprus. We found our voices. We heard each other's songs. We captured our moment, and we painted our lives. Not to mention the fun. We illuminated our future. We learned from the past. The craft and the knowledge came together to create art.
Introduce our two precious guests for today, and we are very pleased for accepting our invitation to be here with us today. Before giving the floor to them, I would like to start, actually introduce them to you with their short biographies. I'm going to start with Doğuş Özokutan. This is a positive discrimination, I'm sorry, ladies first. Doğuş Özokutan was born in Nicosia in 1984. She received her master's degree in visual arts at Eastern Mediterranean University. Doğuş Özokutan, who has been working as a screenwriter, director, and editor in various documentary projects since 2005, has written and directed 3 short films. Özokutan won 12 international awards from USA, Brazil, Puerto Rico, Italy, and Spain with her short films. Olağan Denemeler 2015, Kısmet 2018, and Teslimat 2020. Doğuş Özokutan, who competed at the festivals qualifying for the American Academy Awards, Oscar, the British Academy Awards, BAFTA, is the only Turkish Cypriot filmmaker that won awards from the Spanish Academy Awards accredited festivals. Vasfi Çiftçioğlu is an award-winning director-producer, journalist, and academician. He works on both sides of the division line in Cyprus. He produces bicommunal and bilingual TV programs and documentaries dedicated for peace, aired at national broadcaster Cyprus Broadcasting Corporation since 2004. Çiftçioğlu, who has a PhD in communication, specialized on peace journalism. He also authored a free lingual Turkish, Greek, and English handbook to implement peace journalism in Cyprus. Çiftçioğlu has directed and produced numerous oral history documentaries, including one about the divided capital of Cyprus, Nicosia. He currently teaches an MA course titled Experimental Film and Video. Çiftçioğlu recently co-direct and co-produce three international award-winning short films with Doğuş Özokutan. Now I am giving the floor to you. Yes, the floor is yours.
We would like to invite
Yok. Çekiyorlar. Tamam mıdır? Is it okay? Does it work?
Okay.
İstersen birazcık sen de böyle dön.
Tamam.
Yes. Thank you for watching our films. So if you like, we can start with like answering your questions about the films or anything you would like to know, because I know some of the students are going to leave at 10:30. Is it true? So if there are any questions,
Yeah.
we can answer them first. Or any comments? Nothing. Okay.
Then let me start.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one who doesn't like to speak at all.
So I think you already are aware of that it's difficult to make films in northern part of Cyprus, and the reason is we don't have a developed cinema sector, which means we don't have it's very difficult to form teams. It's very difficult to form production teams. Even if you are looking for a sound guy or a boom operator, it's very difficult to find an experienced one. It's difficult to have access to equipments, and you might already know that cinema is an expensive business, so you need special lights, let's say blue heads, cold lights. These are really difficult to have on this side of the island. So what we do is we try our best. For example, we need to bring equipment from abroad, or we need to rent equipment from the southern part of Cyprus, and we form small teams that are capable of doing more than one task at a time. Inal is with us. Okay, we can say that we are laughing to the situation, that we can also sit and cry because it's really difficult. Inal is with us today. I believe he is one of the most talented musicians of the Turkish Cypriot community. So we'll see in a couple of minutes after this short introduction. We'll see our first our debut short, Olan Denemeler Random Attempts, and that's first time we start. Oh, it's not my first time. I worked with him in previous documentaries, but it's our first time to work with him together. He composed the score of our first short, which I believe is very
Clever.
Clever.
Not us, not only us, but
Yeah.
the film festivals all around the world.
Yeah.
So they're really written really nice comments about the music.
Really? Oh.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah, yeah. He get really good reviews and comments. The latest film, The Delivery, also, he is the composer of the score. So we have the chance to work with. We have 3 shorts, and we have the chance to work with him twice. So that, I think that shows how we like his work.
It was actually fun to work with you to make it.
Thank you.
Some directors is sometimes very difficult to work with, but with you guys it was so smooth. So when you just came for the second time, I just said, of course, let's do it.
Thank you. With you as well. The thing is that we don't have, as Vasfi said, we don't have a sector, so we don't have the equipment and the teams. But our luck is that we have talent. So we have very talented musicians. We have very talented actors. So I think this is also a luck for us.
Yeah.
Which they're also so they have this passion. So I think this is something we are lucky for. So for example, with this film's music, like the random attempts, for example,
We'll see it in a couple of minutes.
Yes. I knew what I had in my mind, but what Inal put in it, how he take it out and how he commented on it was really so good. It really elevated the film, I think, which is also so lucky for us.
Well, thank you. I think it was one of my first actually attempts at a film. And most of the time, maybe like composers who have done many scores for music, maybe the first thing that they ask is how much you're gonna pay me. Yes. But the first thing that I ask, wow, this is wonderful. Of course I'm gonna do it, because I was waiting for this kind of opportunity to get it into a film industry somehow. And once they told me that, oh, we're gonna send this to the festivals, you don't have to pay me. So in the beginning of your careers, of course, it's sometimes it's I like to say you have to be a yes man. Yeah. You just without asking what's the pay, what's the cast, or what's the story, whatever. It just, yes, I'm there, I'm gonna do it.
Thank you. And music is really really an essential part of the film. Music and the sound is really essential for the film to have the feeling of the film. So if you wanna say something, maybe
about random,
or maybe about,
oh, it was long time
Delivery.
ago. Which year was this?
2014. So because we don't have enough funding, so we shoot the film May 2014, but the editing and the post-production ended January 2015. So it took us a lot of time to find out. Yeah, it's 8 years ago.
Yeah, so maybe to speak about the music, maybe we can just talk about, because it was just now that we have seen it, how did we work? For example, the thing that you did, you changed that direction.
Which film are we talking about?
Teslimat.
Teslimat, to make it more anxious feeling. Maybe
yes.
You can talk about
it. Was, I remember I sent you a few few drafts. And of course, it's a very rare occasion that the director says, "That's it," from the first time. Doesn't happen. And and the second time they said, "Well, something like this, but not this." And the third time, the fourth time, and you eventually come to find a middle ground, because most of the time, what you want to do is you want to make them happy, but you also want to be happy, because it's you want to put your kind of your own thing in it. But
that's your creativity.
But of course, you don't have to forget that it's your work. That's your work. So most of the time, you're trying to find the middle ground. I that's one thing that I remember. The other thing that you told me, which one was it?
I mean, so there was this tune,
Tension.
and like we were talking about how to give tension in it,
How to
and
give
you
attention.
reversed the tune.
I
And
did that.
Suddenly, yes.
Oh,
You don't remember? Okay, he did that.
No, yes.
Yes, that was 3 years ago.
Well, yes, 3 years ago. But sometimes the solutions are so simple.
I think it was so
yeah.
clever.
Just reversed, and it can. You don't have to like look for a big solution. Sometimes, as you said, a little thing has a big impact
Yes.
in the world of sound in a film, and it just makes just something, and it just changes the whole mood.
Yeah. So to talk about the film, so the film that you're gonna see now, Random Attempts, is the first film of a trilogy about fate and death. And the Kısmet, which was the first film before, the short one, is the second film. So it was going to be a third film of this, but you know, these things happening unfortunately. So I mean, we couldn't look away from that.
Yeah.
So we made the film just in between. So you are going to see the first film.
Yeah, you are going to see the first film. Yeah, at the last
Trilogy, yes.
Yeah.
Like
Is this a trilogy, like 3 of them?
No,
the
delivery is something
Is it
different.
separate?
is something
Okay.
else. Yes.
Doğuş wants to make something about the refugee crisis. So but she still thinks on, but it's not only writing. You also search for funding and need to think about a lot of, production wise, a lot of things. I'll tell funny things about producing all 3 of them. We could do, we have very interesting experience. Interesting, and when they were happening, it was sad. Yeah, but let's
Watch it.
Yeah, let's move the chairs.
Okay.
So we can talk more about the sound design and the music after we watch.
Well, that was not a bad shot, but this is not how it all started. I've always been dreaming of becoming a filmmaker. I believe that a good movie can make our world a better place. But I need to learn more. Life.
Any questions, any comments?
Yeah.
Any
May I speak for a second? Now that I watched all three of them, well, congratulations, first of all.
Thanks.
And thank you for sharing these amazing stories with us. It was really beautiful. For the last 5 years that I've been living here, you know, I'm quite now familiar with this beautiful, sweet Cypriot sense of humor, which is really interesting. And I could see the same kind of humor in all three of them. Even that last one, the last movie you just made with that seemingly bitter story, which kind of ends sweet again at the end, and you see that sense of humor beautifully done. Thank you so much. Now,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Thank you. The thing is that, you know, me as part of my research, doing research on how to establish an ongoing, let's say, tradition of filmmaking here in Northern Cyprus. Me coming from a country with a very old, actually, tradition of filmmaking, now with restrictions that you can't even imagine. I'm coming from Iran. Coming to Cyprus, I soon realized that, okay, these are the challenges we're going to face here for making movies. Yes, no production houses, lack of professional, lack of equipment, all that I know about. Digging it out, I realized that most of the time, you know, Cypriot films are made through outsourcing, either from South, you know, all the crew members from South, or Turkey. We know all the challenges, but I would like to ask you about the advantages of making movies in Cyprus. And this is something nobody talks about. And for that, I have a point in mind, but let's hear it from you. What are the advantages of making movies?
As I said, we have so many talented people which are passionate, and they, for example, for this film, Hatice, which was back then also a really well-known actor. She has done nice jobs. She brought her own clothes, and she even bought us food. And this is something that she hasn't had to do, and she had no idea what this was going to be. So let's say for this film won so many awards and been so many places. We have been her to so many places. We
US,
walked in so
Japan,
many red carpets, and after that, maybe I of course, I'm sure other people also were passionate, but like this first crew had no idea what was going to happen, and she invested in it with heart, without expecting nothing. She hasn't got any money, like, you know, like the rest of the crew. So I think this is very lucky for us, and this continued for the second and third films, because usually when you do it on normal places, they do it for a one time, and then next time you have to pay. So for example, for this one, we didn't have any money or people to sound record real time on set.
Did you realize that the sound is all designed?
Yes, it's all added on later on.
So the thing was that we needed some place, some professional place to do it. So our DOP is from Holland, and he said that, okay, I know these people from there, let's contact them. He gave us their contacts, and we sent them the film, and they gave us a price, which was, because this film, like other films also, we had to borrow money, but for this film it was like for everything, like we borrowed all, so we took a big loan, and there was a really limit. And the price they sent us, I forgot about it now. I think it was something like 3,000 euros plus VAT or something like that. So the VAT was 300 euros or something like that. And so, like, we laughed at us and like mailed them back and said that, okay, thank you so much for taking time to like give us a price, but the only amount we can pay is the VAT.
And they in 20 minutes they replied back and they said, we really like this project, pay us the VAT, we do it for you, and the next time you have another project you will pay us
The whole amount.
the price what it will be for the next film. So yeah,
And we did it. We worked with them.
Interesting.
And
keep
paid.
working with them. Yeah.
Yes. In here, we are trying to pay people really small amounts, but it is still not something that was there for. So this is something we are lucky for. I think people are really passionate. They understand the situation. They know what we are going through, and they're happy that we are trying to do things. So they want to support us, and people support us. This is so important. Like it motivates us so much. So we are a small and unlucky community here in so many ways. So people really like to see people going out and doing things. So when you achieve something, like there are so many people that you don't know yet. I mean, like they're happy as your mother.
They feel proud of you.
Yes, they feel proud of it. It really motivates. So it is something you really need when you're like trying to do things in that like in that difficult situation. It's really something helps you move on to like keep going, keep doing things.
Yeah, if you are, let's say, if you are living in a normal country and you won an award, you might go out with your crew members and friends and have a drink. But here, when we won big awards, it's on the front pages of newspapers. Everyone is celebrating. It becomes a
And
big.
we had that. So
Yeah.
we have been to Japan for
their own drink.
Yeah, with this film,
this happened for us. So we have been to Japan for an Oscar qualifying. So for the short film, for the feature films, your country says that okay, this is my Oscar nominee for this year. For the short films, there are like semi-finals. Let's say there are semi-final festivals all around the world.
Oscar
qualifying festivals for Asia. Short shorts Japan is the one, and so we have been there.
6,000 entries from 100 countries, and we were among the shortlisted 40 films.
Yeah, so they hosted us, and so we were walking on the red carpet with Christoph Daek, and he won Japan, and then he won Oscars for that year. And now we are friends after Japan, and like we are speaking, and like I'm following his like social media as well, and he won an Oscar, and he doesn't get that much, how to say,
reputation.
Yeah.
Celebrate, yeah.
Yes, not that much celebration for that. That we have been like,
just we were a nominee. He won. He won in Japan. He won Oscar, but
yeah. So we got much more like love and encouragement. So I think this is a plus.
Yeah. Another plus, I believe, is the locations. Light is sometimes a curse when it's summer, but I believe there are if you work well, there are times when the light is really amazing. I mean, I speak about daylight. So yeah, people and
also you don't. Yeah.
There was a cafe I saw in the shop.
Yeah.
And it was like our friends.
Yes.
And so you had to.
We didn't pay
another
nothing.
plus is that it's a small place.
As
So,
always.
you know the cafe owners, you know the restaurant owners, so you can just go there and say, "Can we use the space?" In a like many developed, maybe a big cities, maybe that's gonna be very
Yes.
difficult.
cannot go around.
I think.
Yes, he did.
they're happy.
Feel honored.
Yes,
Yeah.
honored, yes.
Also,
May I say something?
Yeah.
I feel so proud, really. And in addition to that, to hear that from you, we are still a community. It is really nice to hear that, because sometimes I'm thinking that we are losing these emotions in our community, but this film shows me we are still community. It is really nice to see it here. And it is so different to see our friends they are playing in your film. The place where we are always over these places, and he produced the music. It becomes too warm to me. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
I'm volunteered for the next one.
Thank you.
Me too.
And
I would like to be famous as well.
We are already famous in this small community hocam.
All of my friends were there. Why we are not there? Hatice was our student, by the way.
Yeah.
She graduated.
And another advantage is that we don't need to have permissions
Exactly.
for shootings, which is so like time-wise and money-wise so costly thing. So there are no like you don't need to have any permissions for shootings. I think this is also
From producing point of view, I mean, these are all production values, right? Each of them are money. So the warmth of people, you know, the welcoming of the cafes and all the locations. So is it, in your idea, is it about trying to put all these production values together and turn this thing into a more serious thing? I mean, because I know even filmmakers living on the island, either you know the expats or the Cypriots, they're kind of living in separate islands. You know, there's not much, let's say, interaction or let's say movie regarded events going on in the country. While there's a lot of potential here, some sort of organization, some sort of I don't want to call it a guild because that will become a little bit kind of professional, but something to bring all these people together and put them in a nice, let's say, small community, at least for them to work with each other. Have you ever thought about something like that?
we have tried it, and some other friends tried it also. The thing is that when people need to earn their lives from something else, they have limited time, and so I mean it doesn't, how to say, build up if you don't put enough time. So I think it still comes back to not having a sector here.
There's a limit to generosity.
Yeah, of course, of
It's
course.
like it took us 2 or 3 years to produce a short, and you cannot have a professional sound man, or you might not have a good person for lights, because he cannot earn his life with that. He
One
cannot
short
wait us to
every 2
shoot
years.
a short every 3 years and make money out of it. The sector is so small. Funding it's limited. So what's nice about being a student is that you have access to cameras, you have access to studios, you have access to everything. Use it, and you have free friends that you can use there.
Students are not laughing on the
They have
They are
not
not
faced the
like-
reality yet.
Yeah, yeah.
They didn't like the idea.
Slavery.
They're being pampered.
They don't agree with you, I think.
You can use all the facilities. Yeah, that's a nice.
So they give you so many things to do, so you don't have time. Maybe. Yeah. So yes, yeah, making films in North Cyprus is much or more something like that. The thing is that things are changing. Like it's getting easier in a sense, in terms of you can try to make a film with your iPhone as well. So it sometimes from the outside it looks like, okay, and anyone can be a filmmaker now. Anyone can make a film now. Okay, you can maybe try to put things on YouTube to shoot something, but still for like to go on a level up, you need professional equipment and professional teams. and time to work on these things. So it's still difficult for the North Cyprus. But I mean, what are we going to do? So there's those difficulties. So we are not going to do nothing. No. I think the main problem here is that we always say this. So this is some. So this cinema has, let's say, become generalized, but it has two branches. So one is the industry, and one is more like the art part of it. So short films really is an art form. So you can't have the professional industry in a country like this. This is so obvious. We know that we can't be Hollywood, but for the art part, I think the main problem here is that we don't have funds. We don't have the legal funds to support films, because like what they do in the world is that in every country, in the most developed countries, like you can think about any capitalist country, it doesn't matter. The governments have funds for short films, for art films, for independent films to be made. So I think the main problem here is that we don't have that right now. So I think as soon as they understand that this is something important and start to give funds, to start to have funds, at least, let's say, make it possible to make like 10 short films a year, I think we are gonna start having some kind of not industry, but some kind of like teams, some kind of equipment's gonna, because if people know that, okay, so in this country there's this fund for 10, 15, 20 films a year, so if I buy that red camera, if I buy that ARRI, if I buy that lights, then I can rent them. If I go and learn how to use these lights, I can use them. So I think the main problem is that I hope somehow it's gonna get sorted.
I think you're contributing to this because Vasfi was just joking about like it makes the front news. I think it's a very good thing that it makes the front news because people will eventually realize that your films are on the festivals around, and you are actually like being our voice in these platforms, like showing like secret filmmakers in these kind of platforms, and hopefully eventually they will realize that it needs some kind of support. This kind of.
I remember for the first film, we knocked every single door everywhere, big firms, government, everywhere, and no one is willing to give funding. So we borrow money from the bank. We make a big hit. Then for the second film, then we have chance to ask around, and
Now they are on the queue.
No.
no, they are not on the queue. It takes us time. No one is on the queue.
Not yet. Okay.
Eastern Mediterranean University supported us. Thanks. Yeah, but it's you need independent independent organizations to support as well, like cinema. Turkey has one, Türkiye Sinema Genel Müdürlüğü. We need something like that here as well. Greek Cypriots also, they have their own funding.
Which works really well.
Yeah, we are the only ones that have no
funds for art. So is there anyone here who plans to be a filmmaker in North Cyprus? Or you're gonna...
No one.
Just
No one.
Definitely. But I want to do some films.
Great. Here or...
Yeah, here is pretty have advantages, as you mentioned, like location permissions. Again, I think it's the same thing for Turkey as well. I'm from Turkey, and in Turkey we do have budget limitations as well. Yeah, there are some organizations that can support you if you have certain things like good story, good like team and stuff. But yeah, it's slightly harder to make film here than Turkey, but it is still the same thing as Turkey, because the Turkey is basically the same in terms of like, it's not Hollywood. It's still like we need still like equipment, and it's hard to get. It's expensive. So yeah.
Yeah.
And by the way, I want to congratulate you on the sound part, because when I watched the indie ones or like short films, the visuals most of the time are awesome, because we somehow get the camera and we value the camera, but not the other things, just the camera, just the visuals. So, or either they have no sound, or have sound but they're not advanced. But on those movies, like we watched 3 of them, I specifically like looked for some parts, like the sound parts, and they were like matched, and there were some little parts they were just like small little errors, which other than that it was perfect, like everything, like in terms of sound, bass, like music, everything was awesome. So I want to congratulate, because we're very less like budget compared to others. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, sound really makes
Difference, yeah.
difference when it is not good.
Yeah. And it's not that, like, for example, closing the door. Yeah, you cannot sound like sound of closing the door, but adding like that kind of extra sounds, extra layers that creates the atmosphere. So I've seen that on those movies as well. So yeah, those are
kind
good.
of sound design.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
add, like stuff that are not actually there, but it contributes to the
ambience.
Yeah,
the-
exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Hi. Thank you. First of all, thank you very much for showing the movies to us. And for a newcomer, it was really interesting for me to hear about your stories. I have a question which is not going to be as professional as the questions that you received, but it's out of my curiosity. Maybe I make a mistake, so correct me. I believe when you were making this movie, you had the international audience in your mind. Yes? Because you knew that you're going to send it to the different international festivals.
The first one?
The first one and also the third one.
When we make it, yeah.
Okay, so let me tell them about one by one. So the first one has nothing to do with anything other than my own catharsis. That someone I really had really bad time with depression, and I had those thoughts, and I tried to heal myself. I read so many things, I read so many comments, so many, everything about suicide and death, and life, and fate, and everything. So this is the first film is nothing more than like my own answer to my own question. So I had nothing in mind. None of us had nothing in mind.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make a film. So it is something like, as she said, I can quit my job and I can sell my cars and blah blah. So I can do my film and I can think about it. So it has nothing to do with nothing else. It really comes from my own experience.
Personal, yeah.
And for the second film, Kısmet, it's something also about that. So if I died, when I died, they're gonna put me in a small pit. I don't want that. I want them to burn, but they don't do it. So even when you can't live your like the society doesn't let you live the way you like, and society doesn't let you die and bury burn the way you die, that you like. So this also came from my own experience. And for the latest one with the refugees, it is really something. It is also, they all come from my the latest one is that I also work as a journalist, and I had to go to cover something, and I have seen some scenes, and I had to somehow process it in myself and put it out. So it also comes from that. So none of them is for Of course,
International.
films for people to see.
Uh-huh.
I'm not saying that.
Yeah, but when the main rationale was not to make them,
If let's say for the last one, if I had to do it for the audience or for the festivals,
Exactly, that's my question.
The better version of it was to show it from a refugee's point of view.
Exactly. My question now is, if now by knowing this, I'll put my question in this way: if you knew that you're gonna show this for the international audiences, what would be the differences between these movies?
I mean, like, I don't know if you can think about it in that way. If I'm going to show it to this audience, I'm going to do it, and if I'm going to show it to that audience, you can do it on if you are going to do a commercial film for the box office, maybe you think about it.
Yeah, no.
But I don't think for the short films someone ever thinks about it that way. It is something else. This is what I say as an art form, as an independent film, as a let's say. As the film of a director or writer, I don't think that you ever think like that. This is something coming out of you, not for something, but
it is the freedom of independence.
Yes.
Maybe, yeah.
So you don't need to think about it. That's right. And like for this one, what I thought my main concern was that. So I really felt that it really affected me. It really saddened me, and I really thought about it for long. And I wanted to do a film about it, but I get so scared to use. I didn't want to be, how to say, like, step on someone's pain. I didn't want to like use it as a ladder. You know what I mean? I did, because like the first two is my own pain coming from me, but this is something I am witnessing. So I was thinking, is it my place to make a film about it? Because I really wish someday they are going to do their own films.
You have a justification.
Yes.
You, as a journalist, you experience something.
But still, so what I did is that I thought, so what are we in this? Like, let's say, as the people living here, what are we in this story? And I interviewed, I talked with so many people, I talked with so many refugees, and like one of our co-producers is a refugee herself, tried to escape 3 times in different ways, with a boat, by walking.
She also acted in the film.
She also acted. So I talked with her, I asked her ideas about it, I asked her permission in a way. Anyway, so what I thought was that, okay, so we are in the shoes of Yusuf, the truck driver. So we are taking those people from one place and another. Sometimes they stay here, so because we are on that road of their escape. So this is why I wanted to make a film about the truck driver who carries those people. So if you were going to think about the audience, the clever way to do it is to show it from a refugee child's eyes. It would be so dramatic. You would all cry. You would all love it. But it would be, I wouldn't be like, my conscience won't be happy with it. So that's why the film is about the truck driver who decides to carry refugees from one place to another. And also my question there. So I think for me, the film is about the choices you make. So he makes the choice. So many people all around the world, not just Syrian refugees, like the Mexican refugees, all the other refugees, they die in those kind of trucks.
True.
People know that they're gonna die, and they put those people in those trucks. And I watched some interviews with people who drives those cars. Smugglers. They were so happy, and they were saying, "We are helping them." You're not helping them. You're taking their money. They're taking thousands of euros from those people. And so I tried to, like, I also tried to understand them. I tried to understand their logic. And I think for me, this film is about choices. So this guy makes him believe that he is in a bad position and he has to do something bad. He knows that he's doing something bad. He knows that a child cannot live in that kind of place, but he insists doing it because he makes himself believe that he is the victim of something. So his child is ill and
But
they need
he's
money.
trying to save his own child.
Yes.
That's the
parody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he thinks that he's the victim.
Mhm.
So this makes him to make this bad choice, making other people victim or something. So for me, this film is just about choices. This is about this is a question asking that the things that we do, which we know that are bad, but we believe that we don't have any other choice, is there not another choice really?
Mhm.
So this is about that, because the things that happening, the big evil things, if there's evil and good, if we believe that there is evil and good, which is also something so we can talk about it. But if there are some evil things, are there like one big evil guy, girl doing it, or like there are small things that we all do, builds up and like makes this whole awful situations. So I think for me, the latest film is about that. So this was all the things I thought about, not the audience. That was, if anything, I thought about the audience is that if I can make people to question it a bit, if I can make people to maybe think about it, I would be very happy. But I didn't put it out because I don't like to push like.
Okay, so can I conclude that you produce all of this because of your own interests, and
Yes,
so it was more personal things?
all of them.
Mhm.
Always.
Thank you.
This is the bright side of making independent films.
Yes,
That
that's
you
true.
can do whatever you like.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, true. But I'm looking at it more from the social parts, and so working as an artist and economy things. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi again. I wrote in order to not forget. Okay. You have said that economical pressures and political pressures in Northern Cyprus is a problematic issue while you are producing a film, and it is for every field. Same, I think. Independent or alternative films mostly produced in countries, it is my observation, which are under the political and economical pressures. And fund is always problematic in these countries. And according to my observations, there is another thing, which is emotional pressure happens in these countries as well. And I think this is my own view. These emotional pressures led your kind of persons to produce more precious things, and which are makes us to feel in deep the emotions. What is your opinion in this subject? And I ask this question to Ali as well, because I have watched his trailer in 2 weeks ago, I think, and I feel same when I watch your movie. Yeah.
Thank you. So I think it has two different sides. I'm talking all the time. Maybe you too.
But I ask it to you directly. Directly. Sorry, Vasfi.
So there is pressure. There is a two-way pressure. So there is a pressure telling you that okay, these are nice things that you have done, but it is a bit crazy to try to make films in that kind of place. So we are not that kind of place that you can do. This is not going to go nowhere. Why
I
are you
have to
doing
force
this?
her to write.
Sometimes.
Always.
Always.
No, really.
I mean the limitations that we have in these countries, Iran or Northern Cyprus. We have many limitations. I don't mean by only economical or political, but it press our emotions at all, and we would like to disclosure them, I think.
Yes.
I'm asking that one.
Yes, it helps.
Yeah.
True, of course. Of course, when you're having those like let's say my films are absurd films actually, and you can see why, because we are living in a really absurd scene here.
Yeah.
So it really helps. That's true. When there's those stupid things happening all around you, you have two choices. That either you go depressed and you.
It is much more easier to get in depressed
Yes.
in these kind of countries.
Or you force yourself and
Yeah,
try to
or
something
feel
else with-
stuck.
True.
Yeah.
Same here.
Yeah. I saw it.
There's nothing.
I saw it on your trailer.
Oh.
You are trying to find the light.
I actually have a question.
Lecturers
I
are
think
talking.
she has raised her hand. That's why I think Ilda. Come again?
Did you have a question as well?
Yeah.
You can ask.
Okay. Okay. Thanks. I actually have seen two different camera movements and camera angles in Olan Random Attempts. I'm sorry, and Kısmet and Teslimat. Okay, I know the mood is different in both of these short movies, but what happened there? Is it like a growing mature kind of feeling over there? Because I have seen this kind of pan movement. It's not a pan apparently. It's like a something on a rolling kind of thing. But things have changed over there. And secondly, with the Random Attempts, I actually have felt Inal a bit more. I mean, that's experimental kind of mood that he has in his own music was a bit more with the Random Attempts. This was just a comment, by the way.
Yes, I mean, of course, because so many years are apart from these two films. So, I mean, even I have changed. But also, as you said, the moods are so different in both. Random Attempts is a film, looks like, so, how to say, like a bright and like those like smooth movements and like everything seems fine, because like everything in her life seems fine, but inside nothing is fine. So it somehow tries to give this feeling with those smooth movements, and with the latest one, which is so turbulent there, even inside the truck as well, everything is turbulent. So it's somehow reflects it. But as you said, yes, I hope I have changed a bit during that time.
Thank you.
I think me too, actually, since you touched on the issue of music. When I watched it now, the Random Attempts, I said, oh my God, I brought too much music to this. And, you know, of course, it was my first, and it was also about the type, like the style. And you said it, the second one, like the newest one sounded more experimental. And maybe you noticed that there is actually very few music there. So it's kind of a matured kind of thing. And also a lot of less sounds, like just simple little touches there. But I still like the other one as well, because it kind of fits to the...
Of course.
Because she has chatter all the time.
Yeah. And there is like little dialogue in there, like in those scenes that she does this job.
Yeah.
So there need to be something.
Yeah.
But I think it still somehow works in that particular case, being that little.
I think the music in the first film is, you know, it depends, you know, it changes from script to script, from film to film.
I mean, even if I close my eyes, I would guarantee, I will 100% would tell you that this was Inal, because the very first Random Attempts was like 100% Inal over there.
Yes.
Hilda.
Merci. Okay. Goiembra? No plan? Okay. First, I want to add my own comment to these films that we have just watched, and I want you guys to evaluate on my point if it's true or what do you think about it, rather than a question. So, you talked about choices a lot while you were answering her question, and what I realized in 3 of those films is that there are always choices, and somebody has to decide between something, whether they should burn their father, or she should kill herself, or like there are always choices that are being made. But I think at the end of it, in all three of them, and I think they can, like, three of them can be a trilogy because of that. At the end of that, every time there's a humor about fate, every time about fate, because something happens without their control. Every single time it ends with that. Like, is it did you purposely put it at the every single one of them as your like signature, that it ends without the individual's control? Like, or like, I want you to evaluate on that because I thought it was interesting.
True, true. That's so true. It is. I mean, so it changed for me a bit, like what I see as fate. Let's say, for example, for the first film, and I'm not thinking fate as a religious thing. In that sense, it is something like being in control or not. So like this is this illusion of being in control. This is my main approach to fate, let's say, not something the religious way puts it. So for the first film, so I was thinking about suicide, but somehow it is certain that you are gonna die. So I was thinking about these things of like thinking about suicide, but how come you know that you're not gonna die before your plan? Who knows that? So this was the first film's like look to faith, let's say. For the second film, it is much more religious in that sense, because you're gonna go to heaven if they're gonna burn you and blah blah. But I mean, who knows that? Who knows what's happened? I mean, are we in that control? I mean, so we create heavens and hells and like all these things, and like we put people in another way. So we say like society takes control from the people and gives them a fate somehow. So it looks at fate in that sense. So it was about that. And for the last one, it was something like so. Like the Laura, the executive producer, the girl I talked about, she was talking about that she was saying that she couldn't manage to like go to the place she wanted. She couldn't manage to go, and there are so many people washing up shores that, and she was speaking in a way that something bad happened, like she couldn't manage, but this may be her luckiest day that she couldn't manage.
That's the irony you put in every single one of it.
Yeah. So I am looking at like if it is fate, I'm looking at it in that sense. So we are trying to do things, but what is happening in the bigger picture, we don't know that much. So yes, this is true. Thank you.
I want to add to this, if I may. I don't want to go into too much detail because it's an irrelevant thing, but I believe that people misunderstand the fate term, because I think fate is not something written that we live and face. It's something that, because the creator is almighty and like powerful, he knows that that's gonna happen due to our choices, but it's not written. Nobody knows, not even like angels or something. So whatever we do, we create our paths. So again, it's not faith, but it's the choices we made that come to that point. So it's not written. It's us that we are killing ourselves with the car. Like a car is hitting us and we die. Maybe she could have, be happy with her life, except that she is working on at her office. She could make her more happy, and she could go to somewhere else and die somewhere else, or do something else. Or she could be unhappy, but do the things that she reminded herself at the end, that going holiday, leaving job, and she could create another path that will eventually be a different thing. So I don't think the faith exists like in that sense.
Or she can just look to the right before crossing.
Yeah, exactly.
The end. I want to add something about this international thing. We don't have the chance to go all around with the film. Sometimes we are invited to the big festival. But the last one, because it's pandemic, we can only be in US and once in Turkey, I think. Yeah. So because we are not, not only us, but all short filmmakers, because we are not famous, when you sit in the audience, I love it to observe or to hear the reactions of the real audience, because if there is a famous director sitting with them, their reactions will not be natural.
Yes.
But you are sitting with them and they laugh at things, or they said, or they comment on things that's.
And it changes from country to country.
Yeah.
For the random attempts, it was an interesting observation to see like saloon of people laughing, and you go to another country and it's nothing. They're sad and scared.
Yeah, because suicide can mean, in different contexts, it can trigger different feelings. Yeah. For Kısmet, for example, it was very interesting to see that people are they get the humor, or when Doğuş write it, I think, I'm not sure if she's aware that it's a very common word, everyone knows it.
Kısmet, yes, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Danish people know it, English people know it, because it has an Arabic origin. I don't know how, but a lot of you don't have to explain them what is Kısmet. They know Kısmet. They know it, and it was very. Yeah.
They know Kısmet, inshallah, mashallah.
Yes.
Do you have a question?
I think we're finished.
Yeah.
So thank you for having us.
So I would like to thank you once more for accepting our invitation.
Yes.
It is our
We only
pleasure.
came because you invited us.
And I would like to say something. You are famous in Cyprus. That's why we are always calling you here. Every semester we are inviting you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You are so kind.
Thank you.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah.
Well, that was not a bad shot, but this is not how it all started. I've always been dreaming of becoming a filmmaker. I believe that a good movie can make our world a better place. But I need to learn more. Life is like a video game. It's fun and it's challenging at the same time. Every accomplished mission leads to another one. Look at these harmonious moves. A perfect combination of mind and body, absolute freedom of self-expression. Art imitates life, and nature is the ultimate masterpiece. To design like a master, you must learn the basics and then go beyond. But how? So our journey began to this magical place, Cyprus. We found our voices. We heard each other's songs. We captured our moment, and we painted our lives. Not to mention the fun. We illuminated our future. We learned from the past. The craft and the knowledge came together to create art. There's a lot to discover and a lot to be done. We were taken by hand, one by one. The journey goes on, and the future is bright. The seeds we planted will give years of beautiful blossoms. So our dreams came to life, and life became like a dream. The magic is real, only if you believe. The journey we began finally came to an end. But it's time for a new start. Now, let's take another shot.